Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a new icebreaker conversation. Hi Lou, how are you doing?
Hello, Agus. How's it going? Great. It's great to be here again.
Colder today in Buenos Aires. Very polar. Hey
In
Seba, how are you
Patagonia.
doing?
Hello, my friend. How you doing?
Good, all good. How's Tandil? Is it cold enough?
It's cold today. Yes, it's cold and a bit windy, which gets into your bones, and you know it's a winter feeling now.
Good. We're in a polar atmosphere. Great.
Yes,
Yes,
for sure. Yeah. So
right.
here we are
Well,
for another moment to talk this time about Greenland. Well, looking forward to hear about that. If you can see everyone up on the screen, I don't know where am I on your screen, but in my screen, on top of Lou and Seva, there is a yellow banner. If you click there, you can have information on a particular departure to Greenland, in which Seva here will be accompanying a group. So very excited about that. It's actually it's quite close. Just
yes,
yeah,
and
so
we already have a very nice group already formed. It's going to be great. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. It has been a last minute opportunity for us too, and on which it took us a while to decide what to do because we were so close to the date, but at the end we jumped into the pool, and luckily there was water into the pool, so many people was super excited to hear about it, and many people joined, so we are a nice group already, so hopefully there will be a few more to come as well. Right. Should we start while
Yep.
there are some other people also signing in?
for sure, my friend, jump into.
Yep.
Jump in.
Go for it.
Okay. So I go to share here and slideshow.
There you go, like a pro.
Fantastic. Right. Expedition cruising in Greenland. This is such a fantastic destination. It's a unique place. Right, this is us, the Polar Travel Company. We are experts in polar travel. We specialized in the polar regions. That's our specialty and our home for many months and for many years. And that's what we do, and that's what we love doing as well. So, and this is part of what I will be presenting here today. Greenland. Let's start with some general information, and then we get into a bit more information about the trip. But to start, Greenland, as probably many people know, this is the largest island in the world. It is a huge territory. It's a bit more than 2 million square kilometers. And just to give you an idea, it is only 25% smaller than Argentina. Argentina is the eighth country in size in the world, and Greenland on that position would be number 12. So it is such a vast territory. And that territory is almost completely covered by glacier ice. It is the second largest ice sheet in the world, almost 2 million square kilometers, covering the whole island. 84% of Greenland is covered on ice. It is an ice dome that covers the whole island, and many glaciers that get into the coastal area and calves into the sea. Only the rest is permafrost, and it's rock, and is where all the settlements are. The climate, in very general terms, we could divide the climate of Greenland in two. Is the tundra climate, which is known as to have cool summers. I took the average temperature of Nuuk, the capital here. But in the rest of the coastal area, except for the north, especially the northeast part, is pretty much the average temperature. Summers around 6-7 degrees Celsius, and winters that goes around -9, -10. It can get up to -20. This is all the coastal area where the tundra is. But then in the ice cap, of course, there is a polar climate where temperatures do not exceed the 0 Celsius temperature, usually through the year. People, well, Greenland is an autonomous country. It's an independent country, but it is within the Kingdom of Denmark. Denmark is one of the 3 independent territories of Denmark. The population of Greenland is close to 56,000 inhabitants. Quite a small population, but considering the remoteness of Greenland, it is still a good number of people. And almost half of the population lives in Nuuk, the capital. The language is Greenlandic, that is the official language. But of course, Danish and English are recognized languages as well. There is a big percentage of the population from Greenland, from Denmark that lives in Greenland. So it is kind of like a second language as well. And here in people, I just wanted to include something, I don't know how related to this talk it could be, but I found it super interesting. Working in Greenland, I had a colleague from Denmark who had applied to the Sirius dog sled patrol. And I didn't know what it was at first, and I was a bit surprised when he told me that was a completely elite naval Danish unit in Denmark, and it's a unit that it was created to establish sovereignty over Denmark and to patrol the coast of Denmark through the year. When Denmark was sort of in conflict with Norway through about the sovereignty of Greenland, on which Norway wanted also to have some sovereignty over it, the discussions went on and on through the beginning of the 1900s. And then at the end, the League of Nations, which would be the pre-state of what eventually became the United Nations, told Denmark that if they wanted to have sovereignty over Greenland, well, they would have to stay there permanently. And so that's what the Danish did. At first, with 2 police stations that were fixed in the coast of Greenland. But then later on, in the 40s, with the arrival of the Second World War, the Germans had established a meteorological station in Greenland, which allowed them to get very useful information about the weather in the Atlantic. And in order to prevent that, the Danish formed this patrol, the Sirius patrol, to patrol over the coast of Greenland and found the meteorological station, which they actually did find it. Going on, after the war, they decided to keep the patrol and keep patrolling the coast of Greenland permanently. So this Sirius patrol was created annually to patrol the coast of East and Northeast Greenland. And what I find appealing of all this is that they continue doing so nowadays at the very same way they did it at the beginning in the 40s. They have six teams of 2 people and their dogs, and that's it. That's the only thing they have, and that's what they do, patrolling all this area of Greenland. It is 16,000 square kilometers of coastline that they run with the dogs, and I just find it astonishing. It is such a curiosity over Greenland. I close the brackets and I continue with the talk. So cruising in Greenland, when is the best time to go? Well, for expedition cruising, usually the best part is from July until, I would say, beginning of October. That would be the very end of the season. And what is a Greenland trip like? Well, to start, the expedition cruising is done in these type of vessels that are ships purposely built for this extreme environment. Many of them, most of them are ice strengthened, that enables them to navigate through water with some sort of ice conditions as well. And these boats, the boat that you can see there, those are the Zodiacs on which we make landings and Zodiac cruises and activities. Ship will be our hotel. That will be our base camp. And from there, we will do all the activities. So a normal day would be, we wake up, we go for breakfast, then we start getting ready. The ship repositions itself to the location we want to do an activity in the morning, and that's when we start. It could be either a landing, a Zodiac cruise, a ship cruise, or any other activity. Once we finish that activity on land, we come back to the ship for lunch. The ship will reposition to another location, and then in the afternoon, we will do another activity. By the end of the day, usually then we gather in the observation lounge in a relaxed way, where we have the recap of the day, and also we have the briefing of what would be the planned activity for the next day. Of course, everything can change depending on weather conditions, but at least we'll have our plan A. That can be plan B or plan C later on. Disembarkation is done through the mat room and through the gangway. There will be, as you can see, people to help all the time. And that's how we get into the Zodiacs. And a typical landing in Greenland is something like this: tundra, mountains, some snow, glaciers in many places, and the raw nature at this exponent way. It is such a fantastic place. It is really unique. There will be some communities, especially on the west side, where more communities are, and this is a fantastic way to engage with the locals and see how they live and what they do as well. This is another community. Some of the places, as you can see here in this picture, are sort of prepared to receive people, and they have a minimum infrastructure. But then most places will be in nature. So if you are doing a trip to Greenland, you must be prepared for uneven, maybe slippery, maybe steep terrain. So you must be ready to negotiate some of those terrains. Wildlife, it's always very attractive to see. Not very easy, but it is possible to see wildlife in Greenland. This is an Arctic hare, such a beautiful shot. There is a possibility to see muskoxen. Here is a group. This is an animal which is the family of the goats, believe it or not. It is such a majestic animal. They are a bit shy, so they usually you can see them at a distance. If you're on land, you can find your way to approach them a little bit. You have to do it slowly and very quietly, but it's possible to see them. On this trip that we were talking about, we might have some chances on the south side. But of course, they can be a bit elusive as well. So the cruises, that is also such a good activity to do in Greenland because of the massive icebergs floating around. Most of the huge, big icebergs that we will see, they come from the ice dome and from the platforms that calve into the sea. So there will be a lot of ice, especially in some areas like Disco Bay and places like this. Kayaking as an optional activity, that's also a possibility to do in Greenland, especially if weather conditions help. Kayaking will be, yes, the thing to do in some of the places. And of course, the polar plunge, that might be also another activity while we are in Greenland. This picture in particular is from Antarctica, it's not from Greenland. I didn't have any in Greenland, as Agustin didn't want to do the polar plunge when we were there. So I had to put Cecilia, which also is part of the Polar Travel Company team.
I have to say that I was once inside Antarctic water 20 years ago on my first trip when you made me and baptized me.
Yes, that's true. I remember. Yes.
Yeah, you better remember.
With clothes and everything.
Yeah. So that was a first and a last, and it counts double.
Yes, but that wasn't a polar plunge. That was an Antarctic baptism.
For me,
which is not the same.
I did it 3 times. It was a baptism, but then I went 2 more times in, just for your sake, because I love you so much.
Yeah, whatever. Right. And this is the trip that I'm doing on 15 August. So in a month and a half or so, which is such a great itinerary. The trip starts in Oslo with a charter flight that is also included in the rate. It is a flight that takes about 4.5 hours from Oslo to Kangerlussuaq. That will be our first contact to Greenland, and from there we will join the ship, which will be waiting for us in Greenland. One of the places we will visit is Ilulissat, a very nice, beautiful community. And as it is in Disco Bay, there is also the view to the sea with a lot of ice and a lot of icebergs around. Next stop will be Eki Glacier, a very active glacier, which is about 5 kilometers wide, where we will have the opportunity to navigate and see through. There will be some opportunities, hopefully, if the weather allows, in that area to do a Zodiac cruise, and then some navigation through Disco Bay. Next destination, way further south, will be Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, with 18,000 inhabitants. There will be a visit to the capital as well. We will continue to Arsuk, also a community with some waterfalls in a fjord. Prince Christian Sound. It's a fjord way down on the very southern tip of Greenland, also with a view of a glacier and a very small community there. I think there is a community that have probably 100 people. And from there, we will navigate the Denmark Sea, the Denmark Strait towards Iceland, and we will finish the trip in Reykjavik. This trip will be done with Atlas Ocean Voyages, which is the operator. It's a very great way of doing it, as everything is included on board. The flight is included, all included on the ship. Drinks, of course, all meals are included. Some of the programs, some of the activities on the places are optional, but some others are included. And it is a 5-star ship, super comfortable, super friendly, and even though small, there is less than 200 people. I think the ship can carry 170 or so. So it is a very familiar atmosphere. So it's a great opportunity. And I'm so excited to go.
Seba, I wanted to pitch in and mention that our friend Andy Fuentes, he is the representative of Atlas Ocean Voyages, and he couldn't be with us today, but he will be here on Wednesday for our Spanish speaking version of this webinar. And so if any of you have any doubts that you want to leave for him, go ahead, because we are in touch with him and we'll be with him next Wednesday.
Nice. Is there any question, guys, you have? Or yes.
Really, I don't know why it never occurred to me. I hope you don't hate me, but I'll just ask away. If Greenland is covered in 80% of ice, where does the name Greenland come from? Do you know? Or maybe I was
from the Vikings. When the Vikings discovered Greenland, they discovered actually the south part of Greenland, which is the part with more vegetation. Remember earlier that we were talking that in the south part there are even trees. That Nansen, when he did the first crossing of Greenland, and when they reached the other side near Nuuk, well, nowadays Nuuk, before it was called Gotav. When they reached the fjord, they left the ice cap. They even had to make a raft with the branches of those small trees. So there is more vegetation in the south, and that's probably why they call it Greenland. And I think they wanted to do a little bit of marketing as well and attract people to the new locations.
I understand. That's great. Thank you, Seba. And I see that we have 2 questions, right?
Yeah. Amal, hey Amal, how are you doing? Is asking how long a typical landing would be, and let me pitch in and answer this for you, Seba. It's very similar to Antarctica, with the difference that sometimes when you're visiting communities, it might take a bit longer. You can be a long 3 hours walking around, because in some places it can be, you can find roads, lots of cars, and whatever you can imagine on a small town. So it is landings can be from 1.5 hours to 3 hours, sometimes even more. But one very important thing when going to Greenland is to understand that we are landing on small towns and there is traffic. And we have this because we are used to Antarctica and to extremely wide places where there is nothing. And we have this tendency to walk in the middle of the street. Well, let's remember it's a street. Basically, sometimes they just do not slow down at all for us. So we have to be very, very aware of it. But when
Good point.
visiting communities might take longer, if not regular times for a landing in the wild that you have experienced before, from 1.5 hours to 3 hours approximately. And then there is Joe Palais is here. Seba, hi. Johanna, how are you doing? It's nice to see you.
Joe!
Yeah. When will our next voyage be after August? And that will be Antarctica.
Wow.
Antarctica.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Antarctica with Bali.
We are doing another trip in November.
Mm-hmm.
November to Antarctica, and the guide will be Valeria.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for any particular destination, to Greenland, she's asking now, to Greenland, we will see when we go back to Greenland. It's always a challenge, but it's looking forward to it. This will be one of the
yeah. To do this year, I see it a bit difficult, as in August will be already one of the last trips of at least of Atlas. And there will be some trips in September as well from other operators, but that can be very last minute for us. So maybe next year, hopefully, if we have some people, just sign in, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking to the map and a little regarding your question, Lou, on why is it called Greenland? Well, with the picture, Seba, you left on the screen, you can see the map of the whole itinerary actually. And if you pay attention, you are flying from Oslo, you are crossing the Arctic Circle already, and landing with the plane already way up in the Arctic Circle. Actually, when you fly from Oslo and you're landing, you're getting into closer to land into Kangerlussuaq. Usually, it's quite covered with clouds. Once as the plane slows down and starts to go down, you will be actually flying over the ice dome in Greenland, and try to get a window seat, and if not, find someone that you like that you can ask, hey, can I look a bit? Because it's really amazing. You see all of you see the ice and you see the...
I don't ask. I just...
Stuff like
that. Yes, just jump over them.
Would you mind? Do you mind? Do you mind?
No.
It's quite unbelievable because it's all ice dome. I mean, it's just a few miles from the coastline inland, which is ice-free, and it's quite unbelievable. And from there on into Disko Bay, Ilulissat, and the Eki Glacier, it's all the way up north, deep into the Arctic Circle. And then the second half happens south of the Arctic Circle, and it's the greener part, the most populated part, as Seba said, where the capital city is, and it's amazing. And then Reykjavik, it's just it's another planet, I would say. Yeah. Really. Iceland is, well, you did Iceland last season. Joe, you should have come to Iceland last year with Seba. See, that's a different destination.
Yeah, probably weather conditions, weather-wise, the second half, it will be also, of course, depends on weather conditions, but it will be milder in a way, in temperature, and so probably there will be a little bit of difference in temperature as well, from the first part, Ilulissat, Eki Glacier, to the south part, to the second part.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking out loud with Amal's question. What about a typical landing? One important thing about gear when you are preparing for the Arctic. The summer Arctic, it's a little milder than the summer Antarctic. But even so, since you're going to be further up north, deep into the Arctic Circle, conditions can be very similar in weather-wise and temperature-wise. So you can get cold, very cold winds, cloudy days and stuff. You might not be on top of snow and ice as much as in the Antarctic, but it really gets fairly cold. So always ready for cold environment and full gear on with room in your backpack to get stuff out and be cooler if it gets too warm. But have that in mind on your trips to Greenland, always, to the Arctic as a whole, actually.
Yes.
I have to say that I'm getting ready for a North Pole trip in just a couple of weeks and trying to get all my gear ready, which is not an easy task. I'll let you know more about that once I'm back.
Yeah, that will be our next stop.
I don't know if the next, but another talk.
Another talk.
Go see first.
But this time you will speak.
Oh, come on. I will be happy to do so, my friend. Looking forward for it.
Yeah, but just to finish up the weather conditions on how to dress. Yes, dress expecting any type of weather conditions. It could rain, it could snow, it could be windy at some places. Yeah, and so be prepared. That would be the best advice.
Awesome. Hey, Joe was with you in Iceland. Now that I say, because she's actually saying that.
We went to Iceland together.
Now I'm starting to do, clicks in my head. And she flew through Greenland, on top of Greenland, so she's seen already the ice dome. So awesome. Pleasure, Amal. Thank you so much for being here, and everyone. And I don't see any more questions, so I don't know if you have any slides left, my friend.
No, just this one.
Okay, awesome. You are welcome.
Thanks so much, Seba. And if anybody has any questions, all the information is in the newsletter that you got from this talk, and we wait for you on the next one.
Yes.
For sure will. Thank you so much. We'll post the video of this talk, and particularly in YouTube, on our YouTube channel eventually, as we're going to also... we have a Spanish one, so I don't need to translate it. That is great news.
And we will send them as well the trip information for those who like to see it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Agus. Bye.
See you at the office. Bye.
Bye.